Hello guys, my name is Nitesh and you are watching Take Me Devoted. Today we will discuss something which is new and very hot topic for interview and for your update. We will discuss changes in interface in Java 8. Till Java 7, we know that we can't write any concrete method in interface as we can do in abstract classes. But from Java 8, we can write method using two important keywords. Yes, you got it right. We can write our method using default and static. Let's see the code. We will discuss in more details later. So let's first discuss default method interface, how we create it. So first I have created one interface, my interface 1, and which has one method m1 as a abstract method, and we have one method def as a default method here. See how we create default method in this in interface using this default keyword, and we can write body here. See, we have written body, but if we will write body here, we know that we are not allowed to write this. So in this way we are creating default method in our interface. Now I have created my interface 1 and I have one default method def here. Now same thing I have created in interface 2 also. I have created one method m2 without any body and one default method def here, the same method here. And here we are calling we are writing my interface 2 default. I have passed this string argument here, and same thing here we have written my interface 1 default, and this one using string parameter, string argument. Now go to the implementation class of this. I have written one class default demo which implements both in my interface 1 and my interface 2 both. Now we know that when we implement any interface, we have to override any abstract method if it contains. So if have it has m1 and m2, so we have to override this. Now we have same method, same default method def, same in my interface 1 also. See, I have written same method, same here is also same. So you have to override here your own, you have to give your own implementation to overcome from the confusion which one to override. So you have to override your own. Here see, here it is my own, my default, and we are passing that string argument. Now we are creating object of default demo and passing java 8 as a parameter, as an argument in our def method. So it will give an output will be this one, overridden one. So if we run this, see, if we run this, we will get my default java 8, my default java. Here we go. Now I would like to tell you one thing, that suppose we don't write this, don't implement, only we implement only my interface 1. Now what will happen? So we have to delete obviously this one because no need of that. And as we have implement my interface 1, so we have to override m1 and we are giving this one. Now if we omit this one, see, we don't need to override default method if we have, the if, because my interface 1 has only one default def, and we haven't implement my interface 2 also, we haven't implemented, so we don't need to override this. If we run this, see this one, see my interface 1 default java 8 means uh, this one is being called, this one. Now if my interface 2 has some different method, then suppose here is my diff1, and here is my diff2. Okay, now here we are doing both one, my this one, my interface 2. So we have to override m2 as well, so add implemented method. So m2 we have overridden here, right? Now here we are writing def1, so we don't need to override again because they are both different method name. So uh, no need to confuse about this. See, def1 and def2, so we are not overriding default method of any because they both are different. So if we run this, we see here my interface 1 default java 8, my interface 2 default java 8. So this is all about the basics of default method. Now let's discuss some important point in this. The java default method has bridged down the difference between interface and abstract class. So because in abstract class we can create our concrete method, and we have our abstract method also, but using default method we have just bridge down the difference. So it helps us in avoiding utility class of collections, so it can be provided in default method. This is one use of this. Why this is included in java 8? Actually we have to enhance collection API to support lambda expression. And what is lambda expression? We must know that this is the new feature, again a new feature in java 8. I can discuss this in my upcoming videos, but just know that if you are aware of this, this is good. That reason to enhance collection API to support lambda expression. A default method cannot override a method object class. I have discussed this in earlier, that we cannot override object class method because object class is the base class for all Java classes, and it will be useless to write default method because that method object class method always be the preference, and that will be called only. So one more thing, this default method is also called defender method, or sometimes so now we will discuss about static method in interface. So it's similar to default, but here is one thing that we cannot override them in our implementing classes. These features help us in adding undesired result in case of poor implementation of a class. Now let's understand this in code. Now we have written my interface static here. See, this is the interface I have written, and this it contains two methods. One is default method, as we discussed about default method, and one is static method. Here is the static method. So how we create a static method here? Using static keyword, and we can give our body here. So these are the two methods we can which we are discussing, that in default method we can give our body, in a static method we can give our body. But what is the difference? We cannot override static method in our implementing classes. Now here is the static demo. Static demo implements my interface static. So but here we don't need to override because we have only one default method. So I don't want give up my own implementation here, just I want to use this one only. So in this show method, in this default method, what we are doing, we are checking whether it is null or not. So with this code, this static this static method, so it returns boolean. So here it will check it if it will be true, if it is null, otherwise false. So here we are checking check null name. If it will be true. Suppose this is null, then it will return true. So here it will be false, then it won't be executed, and if it is false, then it will be true and it is executed. Now if you run this here, we run this, so interface check null. Why? Because here we are passing null value. Okay, now suppose we don't pass here null, we are passing any value, check any name. John is good. So if we run this, we'll get interface check null, because we are printing system.out.println, so it will come here. So it will return false, so it will be true, then it will execute it. So show data is John. So if we run this, we know that interface check null is show data is John. So what we got here? we don't need to override a static method. Actually, we cannot override a static method here. So suppose we have something poor implementation in class, so we can avoid this by using static method. Like suppose check null is we can define here, or anything like sorting we want to do, so we can define in our interface. So this is the new feature of Java 8. So one thing, that Java interface static method is visible to interface method only, because we are not overriding this on our class. So this is visible to interface only. Second thing, it helps us in providing utility method like sorting, check null, null check, and this kind of thing. So we cannot define static method for object class, as we know this is very obvious reason. And if we will do so, what we will get? We will get compiler error, right? So this is all about interface, change in interface in Java 8 using default and static keyword. So we'll discuss more, and we'll discuss new features in our upcoming videos. So guys, hope you like it, hope it will be helpful to you. So try to implement this by yours, you will get more clearer idea. So thank you guys. If you like it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe this channel to get updated.